Notre Dame team?
Yeah, I mean, you have to, just based on the athletic ability and the confidence that this team has. You and I talked last week, and I said of all the crazy upsets and the big games that we had it was a couple weeks ago after the games on Saturday, the 22nd. I said, of all those big wins, I think Kansas State beat Oklahoma, and there were some others. I said the Miami comeback and the way they won in overtime against Georgia Tech may have done more for that team than any other team in the country. And how about for an encore, they have the game that they have last week against North Carolina State, where it's another late game. It's going back and forth, and Morris makes that big throw. And how the North Carolina State defense let that happen. It almost looked like the play before Miami was ready to just say, hey, let's go into overtime. And then they end up coming up with that big play. And you're right, Morris continues to grow, and I think his confidence is soaring. This team now, I mean, think about how the year started with how they had to win against Boston College on the road. They get embarrassed at Kansas State, and you're thinking, man, it's going to be a long year with everything going on off the field. The defense right now is giving up points. It's going to be a long year for Miami. But they find a way to win Atlanta. They find a way to win. Now, all of a sudden, they go into the game in Soldier Field with a lot of confidence and a lot of belief that they can do it. And with a quarterback that's executing the way he is, and with the speed that they have in that backfield with Johnson and James, oh yeah, it'll be the biggest test, I think, as far as the athletes that Notre Dame's faced up to this point. Notre Dame's playing really good defense, and if there's a story, it's not just all this skill from Miami. It's how will their offensive line handle a really experienced, athletic front seven from Notre Dame led by Manti Te'o. That'll really tell you a lot about how this game goes for the Miami Hurricanes. They've got to hold up front to have any chance at all.
Notre Dame's offense has really struggled to do much. They've won a bunch of low-scoring games, and, of course, the Canes' defense has really struggled. What happens in that one? I got to believe Notre Dame is thinking about just pounding the football. Would you agree with that?
Well, the two teams couldn't be a mix of more contrasting styles. The two teams don't want the game to go any more different. I mean, if you're Notre Dame, they're giving up 9 points a game. Their defense is, now remember, they have 3 brand new starters in the secondary. They have 2 new corners. They're breaking in a new safety because their starting safety got hurt in the Michigan State game, and he's out for the year. So essentially, you've got 3 new starters in the back end. So they really rely on that front seven, and it's worked for them up to this point. I mean, they played Navy, Purdue, who's actually not bad, Michigan State, and Michigan. So the skill that they'll be facing this weekend will be the fastest skill that they've seen. But they want it to be low-scoring, field position, defense, special teams. That's the kind of game they want. They want to basically slow it down. Whereas obviously Miami, they're all about big playability, getting guys matched up one-on-one, Morris making plays, big plays in the running game. And so it is a contrast in styles. It'll be interesting to see who eventually prevails. Don't get me wrong. It's doable for Miami to win this game, and I think all of us are excited about the playmaking ability. But this may be, if Miami wins, their offensive line will have had to have had an outstanding game. And the other thing is that the Miami defense, which has given up some points, even though Notre Dame is struggling, they're not as bad as you might think. The quarterback situation is a little bit shaky, where they've got a young guy who's a freshman, Everett Golston, who's more of a kind of a dynamic, athletic guy who can run and throw. And then they've been bringing in Tommy Reese, the veteran, number 11, played at times for him last year. So my guess is they go with Golston, who's got that dual threat ability. But Miami's got to play better defense because Notre Dame does have skill to be able to score points.
Herbie, we got a lot of Gator fans down here, and they get their big game of the year. LSU comes